Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Stock. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Today I would like to talk about some of the market activity we had and some of that money coming back into the growth stocks. So without further ado, let's get ready to rock. Welcome back. If you like my videos and you'd like to see more of what I do, check out my growth portfolio, my dividend portfolio, the weekly watch list of stocks that I compile from stocks that I think will have an interesting time in the week of trading ahead, and also one from the stocks that the patrons also contribute. I put all that together. I offer it over at my Patreon. The link for that is down in the description. I would love to see you there. Thanks ahead of time for the support. Also down in the description is a link for Webull. By signing up and depositing $100, you get 2 free stocks. I get 2 free stocks from this referral. It helps to support this channel. So if you're going to take advantage of that, thanks again to everybody who's already supported this channel and viewed this channel and subscribed to this channel. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. Finally, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Let's get on to the stocks. So in the market recently, if you've been paying attention, there's been a lot of shifting around the money and people pulling the money out of the growth stocks, especially with the inflation fears that we have and the increased valuations of those companies that were pushed too heavily into their fundamentals and not for their present performance or their current performance. So there was a lot of contracting there, and finally, after yesterday's sell-off, we had a little bit of give back today that those stocks recovered, and that was really nice to see that come back into my growth portfolio. My dividend portfolio, as I mentioned before, that I offer over at the Patreon, that wasn't affected so much because those are more established companies that are profitable and are able to return some of those profits to the investors. Those stocks did relatively well. The travel stocks have been doing pretty well so far. NCLH, Norwegian Cruise Lines, is one of them that I hold in my growth portfolio. That one was a trooper all the way through. A lot of the positive vaccine news that we have is really taking away some of that downward pressure off of that and finally elevating that stock price back up. It broke the $30 mark today. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. First, I would like to give an update on BNGO. So here's the daily chart that we're looking at for Bionanogenomics, BNGO, and this was a company that I've talked about all the way back in the end of December into January, back when it was $1 or $2 per share, and the attention has really come into this company, and they did a lot with changing their business model to something that would allow them to be more profitable. We still have yet to hear about their earnings. I believe that happens sometime in March, so we're going to have to hear about how Q4 2020 and also the fiscal year of 2020 has gone for them. I think that really Q1 and Q2 of this year will be a lot more telling into their performance after those changes have been made. And all the attention, all the PR has gone into Bionanogenomics, and its usefulness is really something that's being shared and discovered and developed along the way. I really think that they have a lot of room to grow as a company, and what we're looking at now isn't so much their present value and what they're worth. It's more looking at the fundamental value that people have placed in this company, and you can see it peaked out above $15 per share at one point in time, and then selling off with everything else, and then it had that big drop yesterday. I considered buying in more, but I liked the position that I had for it, and for a speculative play, I decided just to hold firm onto where I'm at, and you can see some of that money came back in today. I'm just slightly negative on that one, but if you look at my cost basis for BNGO for the entire year, I am well ahead of what is actually reflected here. So it's just my most recent position that's down, and it's only down by a little bit, and it's a small position, but it's a good position, and it's one that I plan to hold on to. And I believe that by the end of this year, if everything goes well financially for BNGO, that they could at least 2x, that they would go up to, $22 a share at 2021. Again, that's assuming that they get their financials right and that they experience the market penetration that I believe that they are capable of experiencing. And of course, the bigger genomics market also comes into play with that. So if everything goes right for them, we got a really good stock on our hands. I like the company. Now it's just up to them to show us the financials. If we take a quick look intraday, you can see it wasn't a bad day. That it did run up for a little bit and then it settled back down. But overall, I'm okay with this stock being at about $11 a share. To me, it's good news for this during the worst of times recently, for it to bottom out yesterday at just above $8 per share. for a company that people were questioning whether it was even worth the $2 per share that it was trading at. And we can see on even a really bad day that people highly agree. I mean, even shot right back up from there, almost to $10 a share at a minimum yesterday. So we like to see that as investors, anybody who's invested in this, establish a nice bottom, even when there's a lot of downward pressure in the market and a lot of selling. BNGO still holding its own somewhere right around the $10 mark or up from there. So I like seeing that. It gives me a lot of faith that a lot of other investors see what I'm seeing in this, and I really hope that we see a lot more good news coming out for them about their financials and about their progress with their Sapphire system in the future. I just wanted to bring up skills for a moment. If we look at the daily chart on skills, that line is from yesterday. Actually, I'll keep that line around. So this line I drew yesterday saying that it was a nice bottom line of support, that it would be a nice time to buy in if anybody cared to take a position in that, seeing it under $30 again. And I like the position that I have with skills as well. I absolutely love the company. It's one of my favorites, and you can see it had a nice bounce back up today, a nice recovery with the other stocks. And I think that we're going to continue to see good progress, even if it doesn't follow this linear pattern that we have here. I think that we're at least going to see a support level established, and maybe, if anything, trade in a range for a while with skills going forward. And it is considered an esports and gambling stock, so it should move with the esports and gambling stocks. And because I brought it up, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, and if I go back to the weekly here, just to show the fall off that it had, this stock pre-pandemic was valued at almost $60 per share. And it is a different company because of what it's gone through and the debt that it's taken on throughout the pandemic. It's not going to be an immediate gain right back up to that $60, but for this to be a growth opportunity for me, for this to also 2x with the current holding that I have for this, I believe I'm in at about $24 per share. I'd have to go back and look for certain. It's at least $21 per share, somewhere around in there. But to see it come up to $31 per share, let me get rid of those drawings. I was really pleased with the pop that we saw today. I think it was on the back of the Johnson & Johnson news, along with the other pandemic worries that are starting to lift, that people are starting to see light at the end of the tunnel with all the different vaccines coming out. Johnson & Johnson being one of the bigger deals because it's a single shot vaccine. And I believe if we take a quick look, I think that the announcement came out. Even though we don't have FDA approval for the Johnson & Johnson, it's still something that's expected to happen, is the approval for the FDA approval for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The FDA review, it was a positive review for it. They said that it's both safe and effective, so those are good votes. We see that coming out hopefully soon. And as I was looking through these, I happen to notice this from Reuters that says White House sees 3 to 4 million Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine doses allocated next week. And then you can read a lot of that for yourself. And then it says pending approval later this week. So it sounds like they expect that FDA approval to happen soon. And I really think that the single shot is going to be something that takes care of a lot of worries, because right now, from what I've heard, that there's a shortage for, or possibly people not being able to get their second dose vaccines because of a shortage caused by other people getting their first dose vaccines with Johnson & Johnson. With the Johnson & Johnson shot, it sounds like that's something that's not even a worry to have. So now that puts us up to, I believe, 3 different companies, so Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, with the vaccines coming out, and hopefully that helps us to get out of this pandemic and gets people back to a feeling of safety sooner. And I think that we're seeing that not only with cruise lines like Norwegian, Royal Caribbean was also another one, benefited really well. Carnival didn't have as great of a day at up 2.2% or so, but also the airline stocks also doing well with that. And I know my family were chomping at the bit to get out and travel. So let me summarize some of the penny stocks that we have. BNGO being among them, that is working hard to leave that penny stock territory, and I really think that it has a lot of potential to do so. We see that value, we see that money coming back into it, being a little bit green because we had some better buying opportunities. I really think that the correction was something that was necessary, that we just had unsustainable growth, and even though it doesn't always feel nice to go through those growing pains, hopefully you had some money on the side to be able to buy into them. Skills, still one of my favorite companies. I really think that that one's going to be a monster, especially if other companies join, like sign up with them like the NFL did, in that they make more partnerships, those multi-year deals with those big companies. I think we're going to see a lot of revenue coming their way and also coming back to the shareholders. And then Norwegian, one of my favorite cruise lines. It's one that I have in my growth portfolio. I was pleased with their pop today at over 9%. That was also very nice to see. I'd really like to get back to traveling, and I know that a lot of other people would, and pent-up demand is something that keeps on getting talked about, and I believe that there is just a ton of it waiting for people to go out and do things that they haven't been able to do. Movie theaters among them. I saw that AMC's having a great time right now. I know some of the Reddit stuff is lingering to have to do with that, but I would also love to get out to the theaters again. For me, me and my family are Marvel, MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe fans, and seeing those on the big screen, nothing really replaces it. It's nice to have like Disney Plus and watch them on at home and in the comfort of the home, and it's definitely more economical that way, but it just lacks the appeal and the allure that movie theater atmosphere has. It makes it feel a little bit more special, and I think that that's something for movie theater companies that that keeps them alive and keeps them going. And I think that as we get back to those feelings of safety and out of the pandemic, that they're going to go back to thriving. So that's what I have for you today. If you would like to join my Patreon, see more of my content, more of my portfolios over there, the weekly watch list, talk in the Discord with the other patrons that are over there. I'm in there all the time. Come on over. That link is down in the description. We'd love to have you. If you need a trading platform, the link for Weeble's also down there. Deposit your sign up and deposit your $100. Get your 2 free stocks. Thanks for all your support so far. You guys have been wonderful. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research and due diligence. Contact a financial advisor before making any financial decisions. I'm Dr. Stock. Thanks for rocking with me. Now go get that money.